The Conservatives have identified Labour having 90 billion in uncosted spending commitments. How are you going to pay for these policies?
Well, that's nonsense. The Conservative Party itself, it's on record on the economy, is so dire. We see these kind of allegations now and again, where we've put forward any revenue spending increases that we want to make. So with the health service, that is funded by scrapping the non-dom rule, the tax regime for the super rich. Our plan for breakfast clubs is funded by the change in taxation regime
doesn't
for
make 90
private
billion,
education
though, does it?
in the UK. No, but it doesn't add up to 90 billion because that's the Conservative Party and their researchers trying to make up some figures. Any spending pledges that we've made are funded specifically from the revenue we would raise. So when you've got that health policy, you've got the non-dom policy that would pay for that. Where you've got commitments to breakfast clubs, they're funded by the changes to the private school education. There will be increased investment spending under a Labour government. That is to leverage in the greater private investment that we need, because we cannot continue with an economy with the lowest business investment in the G7, where growth is lower than it should be, even by historical standards in the UK. And that is part of our policy, but I reject entirely the Conservative claim that we make unspending.
If it isn't 90 billion
commitments, that's just not the case.
OK, what's the figure then if it isn't 90 billion?
No, I don't recognise that figure at all.
What is the figure?
There are no uncosted spend.
But how much are you planning to spend?
In the Labour
how much public money are you planning to spend on some of these pledges? If it's not 90 billion and that figure's wrong, can you give me the headline figure, please?
OK, so the scrapping the non-dom tax regime raises 3.2
No, I'm talking about Labour spending pledges.
We used to expand the NHS workforce.
I'm talking about the cost of Labour spending pledges.
The aggregate spending pledges. I'm telling you where there are specific increases in public service revenue spending. We always say where that money would come from, and that is, I can give you specifics for each of those, and I reject entirely the Conservative lines they put out that there are any uncosted spending commitments.
I get it. You're rejecting 90 billion, but you must know the total cost of everything you've pledged to spend. What's that headline figure if it's not 90 billion?
I don't have the aggregate figure for all of our pledges. I can tell you where each spending commitment comes from when we make it. But I think what we see from the Conservative Party on this is, frankly, embarrassment at their record, embarrassment at the Liz Truss era, the Kwasi Kwarteng era that crashed the economy, and these sort of absurd claims they put forward without any basis for them. If they're making that claim, they should be able to put out where they've added that up to, and they can't do that because they know they're, frankly, covering for themselves and the awful record they've got.
You could argue, Mr. Reynolds, that you should be able to add up how much all of your spending pledges have cost.